I think these are 10 of the hottest brands to sell going into 2025. And the thing is, maybe I'm just missing it, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about these brands. So I'm really excited to dive into this. All of these brands I've never sold before, so they're kind of on my own personal BOLO brand bucket list. I'm gonna share the average sales price, the sell-through rate, also the brand tags, so just in case you do find it in the wild, you know what to look for. And also at the end of this video, I'm going to share how I find these brands nowadays and hopefully share some tips that'll be helpful. Okay, so let's dive right into it. Number one is Rudy Jeans. I love this brand. I cannot wait to find this brand. There are a couple of reasons why this brand is so popular and in such high demand right now. Number one, they really embrace this aesthetic that tends to be performing really well right now, and that's kind of more of a utility style aesthetic. Think of a carpenter in Maine in the 1970s. All of their garments are plant dyed and they follow really sustainable practices, which leads me to the second reason this brand is in such high demand, and that is because all of their pieces are made to order. So you can go on their website and see the items available are for pre-order only. You would order it now and then they would make it after they receive the orders, and then they ship it like a couple months later. So you could understand why there is definitely a customer segment that doesn't have the patience for that, or is looking for a specific style that they're just not taking orders for right now, and has to go to places like Poshmark and eBay to find what they're looking for. Their average sales price is about $155, and their sell-through rate on Poshmark is about 50%, while on eBay it's about 40%, but their jeans, which is really the style that they're most known for and does the best, can easily sell for over $200. I always come across this brand when I am doing research on jeans and pants specifically. Okay, that brings me to brand number two, Osma. OZMA. This is a very similar aesthetic to Rudy Jeans. However, I think it's more of a dairy farmer in California circa 1970s. It definitely pulls a lot of Doan and Christy Dawn type of aesthetic, but a little bit less feminine, a little bit more utilitarian like Rudy Jeans. But I would still use a lot of the same tags for all these brands: cottagecore, prairie, 1970s, sustainable, organic, etc. This brand is based out of California. The way they describe it is elevated minimalist approach to laid back California style. They have a $100 average sales price, a 35% sell-through rate on Poshmark, and a 20% sell-through rate on eBay. That's not super high, obviously. I think a lot of people are overpricing a lot of these BOLO brands, and so my advice would be to price it a little bit lower if you want to remain competitive and sell it quickly. And that goes for every single brand on this list. Okay, that brings me to the third within this kind of aesthetic, and that is Jessie Cam. This is a brand I've been wanting to find for a really long time. Very similar to Rudy Jeans in that pants and jeans perform the best. It's got also a 70s kind of Midwestern tomboyish vibe, but this designer really became popular for her sailor style pants, a wide leg, high rise style that still sells well. This brand has an average sales price of $175 with a sell-through rate on Poshmark of 30% and on eBay of 42%. So I definitely want to find Jessie Cam. I'm always thinking about it when I'm going through pants and have yet to do so, but fingers crossed. Next on the list is one that I came across because I was searching for me. Actually, I was shopping for me. I was looking for some braided loafers because that's a style I really like. And this brand really specializes in it. It's actually the only shoe brand on the list, and the brand, I think I pronounce it Heru, H-E-R-E-U, and it's a shoe brand based out of Spain. They also make purses and other leather goods. The average sales price is about $80, but of course some styles can do much higher than that. Their sell-through rate is 24% on Poshmark and 10% on eBay, but their T-strap loafers really perform well. I'm absolutely obsessed with this brand. I really want to find it for myself, but if not, I would love to sell it as well. Number 5, ALAME. If I suddenly look crusty and tired, it's because I forgot to film ALAME. And so I put my kids to bed, drove back to the office, and sat down to film it. Okay, but I couldn't forget this one because this is actually one of the brands I am most excited about finding. ALAME is an Australian designer with some of the coolest designs. Very 70s, very colorful, a lot of prints, vibrant colors. I absolutely love so many of their designs, and some can perform really, really well. This brand has an average sales price of $180, a 22% sell-through rate on Poshmark, and a 12% sell-through rate on eBay, and personally just one of my favorite brands. Next time I take a vacation, I would love to have a dress by ALAME in my bag. Okay, next on the list is actually, okay, I lied a little bit. I have sold this brand one time, but it was from liquidation. I never personally touched it because my employee at the time just processed it and it sold super fast and it sold for really good money. And I want to desperately find this brand in the wild and sell it this year, and that is La Double J. Is that how you pronounce it? Or is it Double J? I don't know. This brand, their dresses retail for over $1,000 each. They're really well known for vibrant colors, exquisite prints, stunning statement pieces, super high average sales price, $215. And in my experience, it sells really quickly. But on Poshmark, it has a 20% sell-through rate and an 8% sell-through rate on eBay. I bet there are certain styles, like for any brand, that are super saturated, that just don't sell. But if you find a lot of other pieces, it's gonna sell well for really good money. Okay, that brings us to number 7 on the list. Also, one that specializes in a vibrant color, CELIA B. This designer is so fun, if I had one word to describe it. Very colorful, lots of sequins. It's a Spanish designer that just really plays around, experiments, and makes a lot of fun clothing. The average sales price is about $180. Its sell-through rate is actually pretty low. So if I were to find this designer, I would still check comps, especially if I was gonna pay up for it. The sell-through rate on Poshmark is 7% and the sell-through rate on eBay is 5%. I would also just probably price it a little bit lower, but I still think it's a really, really good brand to know because certain pieces are selling super fast and for really, really good money. Okay, next on the list, I'm actually sporting a sweater by this designer. I'm renting it. I don't actually own the sweater. Anyway, this brand I love, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about. It's Rachel Antonoff. She's a designer. She's actually Jack Antonoff's sister. If you're a Taylor Swift fan, you probably know who that is. He is a music producer, but he's also in the band Fun and I think Bleachers. So his sister, Rachel Antonoff, is a really amazing fashion designer. She's really known for quirky, fun prints and intarsia sweaters. There was a sweater that had a uterus knitted into it that really went viral many years ago. And her clothing is also sold at Anthropologie. So a lot of pieces can do really, really well by Rachel Antonoff. The average sales price is $90 and it has a 15% sell-through rate on Poshmark and a 12% on eBay. It's another brand that's been around for a while, so newer pieces are gonna do better than old, and there are certain pieces that are gonna sell really, really well and are sought after, whereas there are others that will just sit. But it's definitely one I am on the lookout for constantly and really want to check off my list. Okay, number 9 on the list is probably one that you do know. It is one that is talked about very frequently actually within the reseller community, but I had to include it because I still haven't found it. It is Magnolia Pearl. I've talked about it at least a couple times on this channel before. If you're not familiar with Magnolia Pearl, you definitely should be because it is one of the best-selling brands that exist on the resale marketplace today. It is definitely more of a log and look brand, log and look meaning a very layered look, but it's also very bohemian. It's a Texas-based brand and pulls a lot of inspiration from that. It's just got a lot of things going for it. A lot of the clothing is tattered and faded, so if you come across it in poor condition, don't toss it aside. It might just be part of the style, but its average sales price is $245. It has a 50% sell-through rate on Poshmark and a 53% sell-through rate on eBay, so it's a really fast-selling brand. If you find a good style and price it right, it will sell super, super fast. And my last brand on the list, I hope I pronounce right, Aje, A-J-E, period, actually. It is an Australian brand, and it is really known for this really voluminous style of dressing, has really dramatic silhouettes, and I think the more dramatic of a silhouette that you come across by this brand, probably the better it's gonna sell. It has an average sales price of $124, and the sell-through rate on Poshmark is 30%, and on eBay it is 28%. I really am hoping to find, especially dresses by this brand, but again, I'm always going to recommend, even for brands that are selling super fast, check comps. Okay, now I just want to get into how I find these brands. To begin with, I have started a system where after I do my listing, if I have time, I'll go on eBay and I'll pick a category, whether it's dresses or jeans or jackets, and I will look at everything that has sold for $100 or more that day. It's really interesting to just see what has sold that very day on eBay. It's easier to check sold comps on eBay than it is Poshmark these days, so that's why I stick to eBay. But another reason I love eBay is if I find a brand that I am not super aware of, I will copy and paste it into eBay's research tab, and will quickly be able to ascertain the average sales price and the sell-through rate of that brand. The next step I'll do is I'll actually Google the brand, and I will look at what they're selling on their website just to get a gauge of what their customer base is really interested in and looking for. And that's really important because, like I've been saying throughout this video, brands matter, but style matters just as much, if not more so. In fact, I actually passed on an Aje dress recently, the brand that was number 10 on the list, because after looking it up and checking comps, like I recommend that you do, I decided that the style wasn't going to sell very well, and I passed on it. It was also priced pretty high. But as long as a brand has been around for a while, they have probably produced something that most buyers aren't looking for. And so just because you come across a piece by a certain brand does not mean that it's gonna sell. Instead, you really have to get a good sense of what the customers of that brand are looking for and try to find styles that fit within that. Another great way that I do that kind of research is I will search for the brand on Poshmark, and I will search for the word ISO, which means in search of, because a lot of Poshmark buyers will create listings of items that they're actively looking for. And that will give you a sense of what styles and what pieces are in super high demand but low supply within whatever brand you decide to do research on. But speaking of style, I'm going to be doing a video next week all about styles, so be on the lookout for that. But before you go, let me know down in the comments section, what brand did I miss? What brand are you dying to find in 2025 that's selling really well right now? If you take a minute to do that, then we can also create a resource for resellers down in the comments section where we can all learn brands from one another, which I think is really cool. So thank you in advance if you do take time out of your day to do that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank y'all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, love y'all. Bye.